We're going to be talking about how cubing got us into college. My name's Daniel Goodman. This is Aryan Kejriwal. So we're going to start off with some introductions. So like I said, I'm Daniel Goodman. I'm from New Jersey, and I started cubing 6 years ago in 2012. So since then, I've attended 36 competitions. I've been ranked top 10 in the world for Pyraminx average. Currently, I'm 13th, I believe. And I have a YouTube channel called DG Cubes, on which I have over 45,000 subscribers. And because of those reasons, I will be attending Princeton University in the fall.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm Aryan, from New York, grew up in India until I was 11. Saw my first cube in 2012, speed cubing around a year later. 39 competitions, including Nats. There are a list of my achievements that I showcased to college, statistics I used. Probably the biggest one is 6th in the world for 6x6, but don't worry, that's going to improve tomorrow. And I'll be attending the University of Chicago in the fall.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to be talking about standing out and why that's important for colleges. So we're going to start out with a bold claim, and a lot of you are going to hate this, but GPA doesn't matter. To an extent. So what we mean by this is 100% is better than an 80%. Don't get me wrong, that is definitely true. But once you reach a certain point, 100% is pretty close to a 94%, and it's basically the same in the eyes of the admissions officers. So grades are definitely important, and you should care about school and learning. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd be applying to college. But once you reach a certain point, they are just about equal. So to just drive this point home, we're going to go through a little thought experiment here. So here are 3 students. We have student A with a 94 GPA, 1560 SAT, plays piano, and is president of chess club. Student B has a 97 GPA, 1520 SAT, volunteers at an animal shelter, and plays lacrosse. Student C has a 92 GPA, 1500 SAT, and is a competitive Rubik's Cube solver. So not just because it's in red, but that really stands out a lot compared to all the other things. Yeah.
And yeah, the clearly admissions officers think so as well. They sent me an email saying like they really like cubing and whatnot. So clearly played a huge part in getting me in. So if you don't feel it stands out, I think the admissions officers do, and that's why I seriously encourage all of you to engage in cubing greatly.
And not only that, but if I asked all of you to close your eyes right now, would any of you remember the GPAs or SAT scores of any of the students? No, that's what I thought. So it doesn't make nearly as much of a difference as you might think once you reach a certain point.
All right, so people are like, okay, you can work at a shelter, you can cube. So like, cubing, what does that comprise of? What does that mean? All right, so there are several benefits. So this is not like you going out, non-cubers just dropping whatever they're doing and watching you. You know, that's great. That's not special. That's not why you're here today at Nationals, right? You're not here because a bunch of non-cubers just saw you solving and drop what they're doing. Am I right? Or, all right. So why do I think you are here? I can't really see too well. Okay. So I mean, we've kind of made it pretty clear with the world rankings and whatnot. And in Daniel's case, he has an outstanding YouTube channel. Don't think any of you have not heard of DG Cubes. He's done great. For people like, I'm going to call out Sam Schultz on this one. Delegating, staffing, organizing competitions, it takes a great deal of time, and you really have to be dedicated and passionate about it to really pull off comps as well. Also, I'm a big cuber. I know a lot of other people, big cubers, Megaminx solvers and whatnot. We experiment a lot with techniques and see how to solve cases optimally. And I kind of feel, so I was talking to Schwan Park about this at a comp a while ago. And it's kind of like doing research, because you have a theory, and you are trying to find a solution to your theory, or trying to optimize, or essentially trying to approach a better conclusion. And your way of doing this is with experimentation. And most importantly, I think you guys all benefit immensely from the community, and I think the words I use to describe it are passionate, dedicated, and very kind. Nothing I want to note is that you should showcase your achievements. So personally, the majority of you, definitely Daniel and I suffer from this, is that we don't think what we achieved in cubing is anything great, because majority of our friends are achieving similar statistics, and it's normal for us to achieve that. But consider this. So consider the Olympians. Do you think what the Olympians are achieving is any different from what we are? So some of you may say no, but I think the majority of you will agree that, okay, yeah, it might be a bit more impressive. But that's why I use statistics, because why would you think that it might be more impressive? It's because that there are more people competing in the Olympics than there are in the cubing community, but everyone knows what a Rubik's Cube is, so just keep that in mind. So just for example, when I applied to college, I was 12th in the world at 5x5, and they had over 12,000 competitors. So in addition, if I wanted to play really statement statistics, I just said top 0.1%, which I think is still a relatively high number. But technically everyone in the world has, or at least half the world, I mean, definitely developed world, has access to like 5x5s and cubes as a whole. So that's as modest as you can get with a statistic. Hard cutoffs are not accounted for as well. So definitely go ahead and showcase your achievements because they are great.
All right, so now we're going to be talking specifically about how you can write about cubing and how we wrote about cubing in our college application essays. So first of all, we're going to start out by saying that rankings aren't everything. So Aryan was just talking about rankings a lot, but not everybody does have insane world rankings, and that's totally okay, because all of you are cubers. So a perfect example of this, I'm going to be calling out my friend Adam Vetzer. So Adam applied to 7 schools, and he got into all 7 of them with an amazing essay about cubing. And basically, he wrote about how the community is much more important than the individual in the cubing community. So he did talk about his achievements. He has over 10,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he sells sticker mods, which is, showing that he basically has made a business for himself. But he did make it clear that these achievements are more of an afterthought for him, and he didn't do them to build up a resume, unlike a lot of other extracurricular activities that people do. So he basically explained how even though when he first learned how to solve the cube, he did it to impress non-cubers, that's not why he does it anymore. He does it because of the community and the big group of people that share his interests.
Okay, and just from a personal experience, so like I mentioned earlier, I'm a big cuber. A lot of it comes down to experimentation with techniques and whatnot. So my essay actually wasn't about cubing, but I definitely made an effort to integrate it because I talked about like how questioning helped me like develop the person I am and whatnot. And I felt that skills I learned from cubing, such as questioning and whatnot, as well as cubing in context in a social life and gaining excellence through other people and being inspired, as well as the direct process of solving. And majority of my practice time is actually on time solves. So that's what I talked about here. And like I said, efficiency. So it also I try to explain how that stimulated passion because I really enjoy critical thought. And especially at high speeds, you have to push your brain a lot more. And I feel that's a skill colleges really look out for, and that's something that I personally really enjoy to do, and I was able to express my passion for that as a result of cubing. So I think that's another way you can showcase that.
All right, so we're going to be talking about word limits a little bit. So when you're writing an essay, we're going to set the scene. So you have a lot to say about cubing, and so you spend a week writing your first draft, and it ends up at 5 pages or 2,500 words. The Common App essay maximum is 650 words. So another problem, cubing isn't something everybody knows about, so a lot of the words you're using have to be used to describe the WCA or maybe some events that you really like. So what do? So here's some tips. The first one is to abbreviate. So for example, if you talk about the WCA more than once, the first time you should write World Cube Association and then WCA in parentheses, and then all times after that write WCA. So if you write about the WCA 5 times, that saves 7 words over writing out World Cube Association every single time, which actually really adds up in the long run. Another thing is that feelings are much more important than facts. So you want to find the parts in your essay where you're basically just stating facts and try to add some more personality into them. So an example of this is if you write, the event I will be talking about in this essay is Square One, a shape-shifting puzzle. That doesn't really say much. It tells the reader what Square One is, but besides that, it doesn't really get much across. So you could change that to something along the lines of, the shape-shifting puzzle that changed my life is called the Square One. So not only does this save 4 words, but it also makes the reader a lot more interested. Another tip is to only explain the relevant facts. So if you're writing about the things you've learned from speed-solving megaminx, there's no need to talk about FMC. So like if you say the World Cube Association has 18 events ranging from the standard 3x3 cube to the megaminx to the fewest moves challenge, that's not really necessary if you're only going to be talking about megaminx in your essay. So you could change that to, my personal favorite World Cube Association event is megaminx, a dodecahedral puzzle, or something like that. So not only does that have a lot more relevant information, but it also saves 9 words, which is pretty important.
So one thing to note is that cubing is a rather what's the word for this? It's only people in the community are very, very much well versed with this, and that you talk about tennis and whatnot, you'll have a lot of people who know what it is, but your admissions officer likely is not a speed cuber. They let you know exactly how the benefits attribute to cubing. So So people like Daniel and I actually, one way we did it is we connected to our major. So like I said about efficiency and whatnot, and even like I think a lot of the statistics on the WCA statistics page connect a lot. So I'm planning on studying math and economics, and I definitely think that the thinking or the way of thinking you get from cubing is related to mathematics, in that you really need to know your rigor very well from every step in a systematic, structured, logical fashion in order to approach the cube similarly to mathematics.
Yeah, so as far as a programming example, we were going to talk about just sort of stuff that I've done, but like I think the perfect example here is Chris Tran with his excellent seminar that came before us. Cubing has so many applications in programming, and that's my intended major, so that's something, and for a lot of you I'm sure that's an intended major. So you can write about the things that you've done that sort of combine cubing with programming, and I think Chris is a perfect example of that.
So yeah, final thoughts, Daniel.
Okay. Yeah. So the first thing is to let yourself cube, because not only is well, grades are important, but passions are very important too, and that's not just true for college, but that's true for life. Just let yourself cube if you want to. Also, when you're writing your essay, make sure to showcase why your cubing experience is unique, not just for other cubers, but also for people in general in the applicant pool. And yeah.
So we talked about the community bit and why it's special, and I'm sure all of you know why it's special. But to pinpoint why it's this, so around a week ago I was watching a video on Magnus Carlsen, who is the international chess champion. And in his video he said something along the lines of, "It gives me pleasure to see my opponent in pain and struggling." And here in the cubing community, people are ostracized if they want other people to do poorly. We all want to do well, we all are fighting against time, and we'll do everything to help each other fight that. And it's a healthy competition that is very, very rare in the majority of sports or any competitive hobbies. And I think that this is something that all of you have gained from, or at least most of you. And this is definitely something that's worth noting down, as it's very unique, and it's kindness that is appreciated by almost every person. So that's definitely noteworthy. And yeah, another thing that really helped me personally was talking to non-cubers, like I said, modesty with achievements, how to connect to majors and whatnot. I wasn't too sure how to do that directly, as I always felt there was nothing special about it, just something I love doing, and I spend on average I've been going 25 hours a week for the past couple of weeks, and I didn't think it meant much than just something I love doing. But when you talk to non-cubers, you really realize the degree of the achievement you've received, as well as how it connects to other areas. Just make sure you're deep about it. Make sure you probe in. They will ask you questions. Make sure you answer the questions far enough to understand it.
I think you got the last one. Right? The last one.
Yeah, also, so Daniel and I were very fortunate with our parents. They were very supportive both cubing and application-wise. And I think many of you have brought your kids all from far away all the way to nationals. And so that means you're probably also very supportive. So I'd encourage you all to keep doing what you're doing. However, there are several people in the community whose parents who feel it's just a hobby. It's not going to get them anywhere. It's a plastic toy and nothing else, like playing with toy cars and just putting them around rooms, and that could be useful. I don't know, but they don't see the true values that I feel that so many of us have gained from. A great example of this is actually Ben Way. So for reference, he went from around 250 on 7x7 to around 235, and his parents just won't let him cube because they feel he's not going to get into a college. So I would highly encourage every one of you, parents, kids alike, to go ahead and just fight for what you believe in, because trust me, we all just really want to help each other out in the community.
Yep, so that's all we have to say. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them now.